Levi slammed the door of his Brooklyn apartment so hard the walls shook, his heart pounding like a war drum as he clutched the crumpled letter in his fist. "You bastard," he whispered through gritted teeth, tears blurring the ink that confessed Mason's betrayal. In that instant, the world outside, the honking taxis, the distant siren wail, faded, and all Levi could hear was the echo of Mason's voice calling his name, a ghost from their stolen nights. Levi Thompson had always been the kind of guy who blended into the crowd, a 28-year-old barista at a trendy coffee shop in Williamsburg, Brooklyn. With his tousled dark hair, piercing blue eyes, and a perpetual 5 o'clock shadow, he looked like he could star in one of those indie films about lost souls in the city. But inside, he was a storm waiting to break. Raised in a conservative Midwest family that never quite understood why he moved to New York after college, chasing dreams of art and freedom. Freedom, yeah, that was the word. Freedom from the suffocating expectations, from the whispers about why he never brought a girl home for Thanksgiving. It was a crisp autumn morning when Mason Reed walked into the shop. Mason was everything Levi wasn't. Confident, outgoing, with sun-kissed blonde hair that fell just right over his forehead and a smile that could light up the dimmest corner of the city. At 30, he was a rising architect at a firm in Manhattan, designing sleek skyscrapers that pierced the skyline like arrows. Dressed in a tailored button-down and jeans that hugged his athletic build, he ordered a black coffee with a grin that made Levi's hands fumble the cup. "You're new here, aren't you?" Mason asked, leaning on the counter as if he owned the place. Levi chuckled nervously, wiping his hands on his apron. "Nah, been slinging lattes for 2 years. You just haven't noticed me before." Mason's eyes sparkled. "Well, that's my loss. Make it strong. I've got a deadline that's kicking my ass." From that day, Mason became a regular. Their conversation started short, about the weather, the latest Yankees game, but soon delved deeper. Mason talked about growing up in California, surfing waves at dawn, and how he came out to his family in high school, only to be met with awkward hugs and eventual acceptance. Levi shared bits of his own story. The small-town Ohio roots, the art degree gathering dust, the nights he spent sketching in Central Park to escape the loneliness. One evening, as the shop closed, Mason lingered. "Hey, Levi, you ever get out of this place? There's a gallery opening in Chelsea tonight. My firm's sponsoring it. Come with me?" Levi hesitated, his pulse quickening. Was this a date, or just friendly? But something in Mason's gaze, warm, inviting, pulled him in. Sure, why not? The gallery was alive with chatter and clinking glasses. Abstract paintings splashed across white walls. Mason introduced Levi to colleagues, his hand brushing Levi's back casually, sending sparks up his spine. They wandered the exhibits, debating colors and meanings, laughing over pretentious artist statements. As they stepped out into the cool night air, Mason turned to him. "You know, Levi, every time you say my name, it sounds like music, like you're the only one who gets it right." Levi blushed, the city lights blurring around them. They walked to a nearby bar, sharing stories under dim neon. Mason confessed he'd been in a long-term relationship that ended badly. His ex, Alex, had cheated, leaving him wary of love. Levi opened up about his own fears, how he dated women in college to fit in, only to realize it was all a lie. By midnight, they were on the Brooklyn Bridge, the Manhattan skyline glittering like a promise. Mason stopped, leaning on the railing. "Levi," he said softly, "I think I'm falling for you." Levi's breath caught. He stepped closer, their lips meeting in a kiss that tasted like coffee and possibility. Time stopped. The wind whispered through the cables, and Levi realized he wasn't alone anymore. Their romance bloomed fast, like a New York spring. Weekends were spent exploring. Picnics in Prospect Park, jazz clubs in Harlem, stolen moments in Mason's sleek midtown apartment. Mason's world was polished. Dinners with clients, rooftop parties, while Levi's was gritty, with late-night shifts and paint-stained hands. But they fit like puzzle pieces from different sets. One night, after a passionate evening, Mason traced Levi's tattoos with his finger. "Tell me about this one," he said. pointing to a compass on Levi's arm. It's for direction, Levi murmured. I got lost a lot growing up. Mason kissed it. You're not lost now. But cracks appeared subtly. Mason's job demanded long hours, trips to Chicago or LA. Levi felt the distance, the unanswered texts. Still, when Mason called his name, it grounded him. Then came the first storm. At a firm party, Levi overheard a colleague tease Mason about that barista boy toy. Mason laughed it off, but later, in the cab home, Levi exploded. Am I just a fling to you? Mason pulled him close. No, Levi, you're everything. I'm just scared of messing this up. They made up with fierce kisses, but the doubt lingered. As winter set in, their love deepened. Mason surprised Levi with a weekend getaway to the Catskills, where they hiked snowy trails and warmed by a fire. I love you, Mason whispered one night, stars overhead. I love you too, Levi replied, heart full. Back in the city, life rushed on. Levi started painting again, inspired by Mason's encouragement. He dreamed of a future, maybe a shared loft, travels together. But fate twisted. Mason's ex, Alex, reappeared, now a client on a big project. Mason assured Levi it was professional, but late nights increased. One evening, Levi found a text on Mason's phone. Miss you. Let's talk. From Alex. Confrontation ensued. It's nothing, Mason insisted. Just work. Levi wanted to believe him, but the seed was planted. The holidays amplified everything. Christmas lights twinkled across Brooklyn, but Levi's apartment felt colder without Mason, who was stuck in LA for a site visit. They video called nightly, Mason's face pixelated but his voice warm. Levi, baby, I can't wait to hold you. Miss you calling my name in person, Levi teased, though insecurity gnawed. When Mason returned, he brought gifts. A custom sketchbook, a necklace with a tiny compass pendant. So you always find your way back to me. They rang in the new year at Times Square, confetti raining as they kissed at midnight. This is our year, Mason promised. Spring brought renewal. Levi's art gained traction. A local gallery featured his pieces, urban landscapes infused with emotion. Mason attended the opening, beaming with pride. Look at you shining. But work pressures mounted for Mason. His firm landed a massive contract for a Chicago high-rise, meaning more travel. It's temporary, he said, but Levi saw the exhaustion in his eyes. During one absence, Levi met friends at a gay bar in the village. There, he ran into Tyler, an old college fling, charming, flirty. They danced, laughed, but Levi pulled away. I have someone. Tyler smirked. Lucky guy. Guilt hit Levi hard, even though nothing happened. He confessed to Mason upon his return. It was just dancing. Mason's face darkened. You think I'm cheating, so you go out and... No, I trust you. But the argument escalated, words like daggers. Maybe we're moving too fast, Mason snapped. They reconciled in bed, bodies speaking what words couldn't. Yet the trust frayed. Summer heat waves turned the city into a sauna. They escaped to Fire Island, where gay beaches buzzed with freedom. Under the sun, they rebuilt, swimming, holding hands, making love in a rented cottage. Levi, Mason said one dawn, watching the waves. Marry me someday? Levi's heart soared. Yes. Back home, reality intruded. Alex's project intensified. Mason worked late, coming home smelling of cologne that wasn't his. Levi confronted him again. Are you seeing him? Mason sighed. Levi, no. But Alex offered me a partnership if I moved to Chicago. The words hung heavy. What about us? I haven't decided. Betrayal simmered. Levi stormed out, wandering Central Park until dawn. He called Mason's name in his mind, but time didn't stop. It dragged. Weeks blurred. Mason chose to stay, turning down the offer. You're my home, Levi. Relief washed over them, leading to passionate nights. Levi's art sold well. He quit the coffee shop to paint full-time. But Alex didn't fade. At a networking event, Levi saw them together. Alex's hand on Mason's arm, too familiar. That night, Levi packed a bag. "I can't do this," Mason begged. "Please, Levi. It's not what you think." But Levi left, crashing at a friend's. Days turned to agony. Mason called relentlessly. "Levi, come back." Finally, Levi answered. "Why, Alex?" Mason confessed. "He kissed me once months ago. I stopped it. I'm sorry." The revelation shattered Levi. "You lied. I was scared you'd leave." Levi hung up, heart in pieces. Fall returned, leaves crunching underfoot like broken promises. Levi threw himself into art, painting stormy scenes of lovers parted. Friends urged reconciliation. "He loves you," but pride held Levi back. Then, a gallery show in Soho. Mason showed up, eyes red. "Levi," he said, voice breaking. Time stopped. The room faded. They talked in a quiet corner. Mason explained. "The kiss was a mistake, born of stress and old feelings. I chose you. Always you." Levi forgave tentatively. They rebuilt slowly, therapy sessions helping unpack insecurities. By winter, they were stronger. Mason proposed properly on the Brooklyn Bridge where it began, ring glinting under lights. "Yes," Levi whispered. Life settled. They moved into a loft in Dumbo, blending Mason's modern style with Levi's artistic chaos. But fate tested again. Mason's firm faced scandal, corruption allegations. Alex was involved, dragging Mason in. Investigations loomed. Mason stressed, withdrawing. Levi supported him. "We'll get through." One night, Mason confessed more. "Alex blackmailed me with that kiss, threatening to out me to the firm if I didn't help cover something." Levi reeled. "Why didn't you tell me? I thought I could handle it." The betrayal cut deeper. "You put us at risk." Arguments flared. Mason moved out temporarily. Levi painted furiously, canvases of fractured hearts. Alone in the loft, Levi stared at the empty side of the bed, the silence deafening. Mason's absence was a void, echoing with unspoken words. He scrolled through old photos, smiles in parks, kisses in rain, wondering where it went wrong. Work consumed Mason, holed up in a hotel, fighting legal battles. Texts were sparse. "Miss you," Levi replied curtly, anger simmering. Friends intervened. Sarah, Levi's gallery curator, said, "Talk to him. Love like yours doesn't come easy." But Levi resisted, nursing wounds. Then, a bombshell news broke. Alex arrested for fraud. Mason cleared but tarnished. Reporters hounded him. Levi watched from afar, heart aching. He called, "Mason." "Levi," Mason breathed. "God, your voice." They met at a neutral coffee shop, their old spot. Mason looked haggard, shadows under eyes. "I should have trusted you from the start." Levi nodded. "Yeah, but I get it. Fear makes us stupid." Tentative hugs led to talks, layers peeling. Mason admitted vulnerability. "Growing up, I learned to hide. With you, I didn't want to." Levi shared his own fears. "I thought I'd always be the small-town kid, not good enough for your world." Understanding bridged gaps. They agreed to try again, slowly. Spring renewal mirrored their reconciliation. Dates like the beginning, walks, laughs. Intimacy returned, tender and real. Mason quit the firm, starting his own practice, smaller, ethical. Levi's art flourished, a series on redemption selling out. They traveled. Road trip down the Pacific Coast Highway, echoing Mason's youth. In Big Sur, cliffs dropping to ocean, Mason said, "Levi, every time you call my name, time stops. I realize I'm not alone." Levi smiled. "Me too." Back in NYC, life hummed. They hosted dinners, surrounded by friends who championed their love. But shadows lingered. Mason's past with Alex haunted, rumors, judgmental glances. One evening, at a pride event in the village, an old acquaintance approached. Heard about Mason and Alex. Careful, Levi. Doubt crept. Levi confronted Mason. "Is there more?" Mason swore no. But Levi dug. finding old emails, flirty, pre-betrayal. Fury erupted. You played me. It was before us, Mason yelled. Levi felt fooled. Trust is everything. He left again, this time to Ohio, visiting family. The Midwest air cleared his head, but homesickness for Mason hit hard. Calls came. Levi, please. Ignoring them, Levi reflected. His parents, softer now, asked about that boyfriend. He's complicated, Levi said. Returning to NYC, he found Mason at his door, flowers in hand. I can't lose you. Talks turned raw. Mason revealed therapy insights. I sabotaged because I didn't believe I deserved you. Levi admitted. I push away before getting hurt. Forgiveness came, hard-earned. Summer brought stability. They volunteered at LGBTQ centers, giving back, personifying the human side of their story. A joint project. Mason designed a community space. Levi painted murals. Collaboration strengthened bonds. Fall winds brought change. Mason proposed again, this time in Central Park. Leaves golden. Levi Thompson, will you marry me? Tears flowed. Yes. Wedding planning ensued. Intimate ceremony in Brooklyn Botanical Gardens. But pre-wedding jitters hit. Mason's family flew in, supportive but probing. Levi's arrived, awkward at first. The night before, doubts surfaced. Levi dreamed of betrayal. Morning came. At the altar, Mason's eyes locked on his. Levi. Time stopped. Vows exchanged. Promises of honesty. Love. Reception danced under stars. Toasts to resilience. Honeymoon in Hawaii. Beaches. Sunsets. We're unbreakable, Mason whispered. Back home, life normalized. Careers thrived. Home filled with warmth. Years passed. They adopted a dog, considered kids. But life threw curves. Mason's health scare. A routine check revealed a lump. Benign but frightening. In hospital, Levi held his hand. You're not alone. Recovery bonded them deeper. Reflecting on their journey. Hooks of passion, conflicts of trust, betrayals forgiven. Levi realized the humanity in imperfection. One evening, watching sunset from their balcony, Mason said, Levi, yeah, I love you. Time stopped. Love eternal. The lump was benign, but it shook their foundation, reminding them of fragility. Mason recovered fully, but the scare prompted changes. Healthier lifestyles, more time off. They hiked the Appalachians, reclaiming adventure. Levi's art evolved, themes of healing drawing acclaim. A solo show in Manhattan featured pieces inspired by their story. Abstract swirls of color representing turmoil and peace. At the opening, Mason stood proudly. Your talent astounds me. Critics raved, but one review stung. Thompson's work feels contrived, like a gay fairy tale. Levi shrugged it off, but inwardly doubted. Am I just romanticizing our pain? Mason reassured. It's real. Our love is real. Social circles expanded. They mentored young LGBTQ youth, sharing stories of overcoming betrayal and finding strength. One mentee, Jamie, reminded Levi of himself. Confused, scared. How do you know it's love? Jamie asked. When time stops at their voice, Levi replied. Mason nodded. And you realize you're not alone. Winter brought holidays, now joyful. Family blended. Thanksgivings with both sets. Awkward laughs turning genuine. But old ghosts returned. Alex contacted Mason out of prison seeking amends. Mason told Levi immediately. He wants to apologize. Levi tensed. Do you need that? For closure, maybe. They met Alex together in a neutral cafe. Alex, aged by time, expressed regret. I was wrong. You two deserve happiness. Levi saw sincerity, but warned, stay away. Closure came, but stirred emotions. That night, Mason held Levi. Thank you for trusting me. Spring bloomed with new beginnings. They discussed adoption, navigating the process as a gay couple in America, facing biases but persisting. Agency visits, home studies. Finally, matched with a baby boy, Ethan. The day they brought him home, joy overflowed. "Our family," Mason whispered, cradling Ethan. Levi called, "Mason," eyes misty. Time stopped. Parenthood challenged. Sleepless nights, but deepened love. Ethan grew, toddling through the loft, laughter echoing. Years flew. Ethan started school, proud of his two dads. But conflict arose. At a PTA meeting, a parent sneered, "Non-traditional family." Mason defended fiercely. "Love is love." Levi admired his strength. Professionally, Mason's firm boomed, ethical designs winning awards. Levi illustrated children's books on diversity. A decade in, anniversary trip to Europe, Paris walks, Rome ruins. In Venice, gondola ride, Mason said, "Levi, you've made my life extraordinary." Back home, routine set in. But routine bred complacency. Mason worked more, Levi felt neglected. Arguments resurfaced. "You're distant." "I'm providing for us." Ethan overheard. Scared. They sought counseling again. "We forgot to nurture us," the therapist said. Recommitted, date nights revived spark. Then tragedy struck. Levi's father passed suddenly. Grief hit hard. Mason supported through funeral, holding Levi as he wept. In Ohio, family embraced them. "We're proud," Levi's mom said. Healing came slowly. Ethan, now 10, asked about their story. They shared edited version, meeting, love, challenges. "You fought for each other," Ethan said. Pride swelled. As middle age approached, reflections deepened. Bodies changed, but passion endured. One summer, beach house rental in the Hamptons. Waves crashing, they walked hand in hand. "Levi," Mason called. "Yeah. Forever." Time stopped. Love timeless. But life tested once more. Ethan came out as bi in teens, facing bullying. They rallied, advocating at school. Strength from their past guided them. In quiet moments, Levi painted their legacy. A triptych of past, present, future. Gallery show, "Not alone." Crowds moved, inspired. Mason's speech, "Our story is human, flawed, beautiful." Levi kissed him on stage. Years later, graying, they sat on porch, Ethan grown with his own family. Grandkids played. "Mason," Levi said. Time stopped. They realized, in love's embrace, they were never alone. Aging gracefully in their Dumbo loft, now filled with memories. Photos of Ethan's milestones, art from Levi's career, models of Mason's buildings. Levi and Mason embraced the golden years. Retirement loomed. Mason scaled back his firm, passing it to protégés, while Levi taught workshops at local colleges, inspiring young artists with tales of perseverance. Health became priority. Annual checkups, walks in the park. Mason's knee surgery slowed him, but Levi was there, steady hand. "Old man," Levi teased, helping him up. Mason grinned. "You're old man." Intimacy evolved, gentler, deeper. Nights reading in bed, sharing silence comfortable as conversation. Ethan visited often with his partner, Sarah, and their kids. "Dads," Ethan said, "you set the bar high." Grandparenting brought joy, story times, park outings. Little Mia asked, "How did you meet?" Levi smiled. "In a coffee shop, where magic happened." Mason added, "And every time he called my name, time stopped." Mia giggled. "That's silly." But they knew the truth. Community involvement continued. They spoke at Pride events, advocating for equality. In a changing America, marriage legal, protections growing, their story resonated as a beacon. Yet, reflections brought melancholy. "Remember the betrayals?" Levi mused one evening. Mason nodded. "They made us stronger. No regrets, only gratitude." A milestone, 30th anniversary. Friends gathered, toasts flowing. Sarah raised a glass. "To love that endures." Later, alone, they danced slowly. "Levi," Mason whispered. Time stopped. As twilight years advanced, challenges came. Mason's memory faded slightly, early dementia signs. Levi adapted, reminders, patience. I'm here, he assured. Roles reversed. Levi cared, as Mason once did. In quiet, Mason still called, Levi. I'm not alone, Levi replied, holding tight. One autumn day, walking in Central Park, leaves falling like confetti, Mason stopped. Thank you for our life. Levi kissed him. Ours. Winter brought finality. Mason weakened, hospital stays. Beside his bed, Levi held his hand. Mason, my love. Mason smiled faintly. Levi. Time stops. He passed peacefully, surrounded by family. Grief consumed Levi. The loft echoed empty, but memories sustained. He painted one last series, Alone No More, vibrant hues of their journey. Gallery opening, emotional. Ethan spoke. Dad taught us humanity in love. Levi lived on, volunteering with grandkids. Years later, at 85, Levi sat on the Brooklyn Bridge bench, watching sunset. A young couple passed, holding hands. He smiled, whispering, Mason. Time stopped. He joined him, legacy enduring. In the end, their story, a tapestry of drama, emotion, romance, humanity, proved love conquers, even in imperfection. In America's melting pot, two souls found home in each other, teaching that betrayal forges strength, conflict breeds growth, and deep affection heals. Readers closed the book, hearts full, realizing they too are not alone in love.